We did a bayonet charge. I don't know the area. I forgot it now. The whole battalion lined up, folks, and got us to fix our bayonets. I think I must have been the last bloke to fix his bayonet, because I walked out the front and I said to my mates, "What's going on here?" Like typical digger. And I said, "What's going on here?" He said, "You've got to fix bayonets." I said, "Well, where are we going?" "Over the hill." The North Koreans were firing machine gun at us. Just only a little one, about as high as this chair. So I fixed my bayonets, and then he said, "Charge." So we raced across the thing. At the bottom of the hill, there's a creek running through there. For some unknown reason, I fell in the hole, and it's freezing water. And Eric Larson, which was the platoon commander at the time, he stopped us. They yelled out, "Charge." Got halfway up the hill, we got chopped in half with a machine gun across his chest, from shoulder to waist. So we eventually took the hill, knocked out the machine gun, and when we looked over the hill, the Americans had been firing their tank shells, and there must have been at least 300 North Korean people in that valley. It was damn right disgusting. They just laid on top of one another and just piled them up. And we stayed there all night. We had uniforms they used in the First World War, Second World War, and we had them in Korea. We weren't equipped for the weather in Korea until the Yanks came in and gave us winter clothing. There was only one thing wrong with their footwear. They had these snowpack boots, and that put me and a few others in the hospital with frostbite. And that was the trouble with their boots. The clothing was good, but not the footwear. What we used to do is take our boots off and take it in our bed with us to sleep, to keep them warm, because otherwise if you left them outside they were like concrete. No way in the world you're going to warm them up. You light a fire to warm your boots up so you can put them on.
One way we found that assisted a little bit if you got below the surface of the ground, there was always what I call an invisible breeze on the surface of the ground, and particularly when the winds came from the Gobi Desert in Manchuria, they're just about to go through you like a knife. Well, our role was minor in comparison to some of the forward companies. I did, though, have a Chinese prisoner there. Age estimated to be probably in his 30s. He had on him a photo of his wife and 3 little kids. Up until that time, I had looked upon the enemy as something, just a figure that was to be eliminated. But when he showed me that photo, it had a different perspective of the enemy, of him in particular anyway. I thought, well, he's a human being the same as me, trying to do his job for his country as I was for mine. He was later herded off to a prisoner of war camp, and I can only hope that he made it back to China to his wife and kids. I often think about that and see his face to this day. That's one aspect of it. We had quite a number of prisoners at Cap Yong. None of them made any attempt to escape. As a matter of fact, they helped carry our wounded out, and even some were carrying our weapons out. They acted as if they were happy to be taken prisoner. There's one other point I'd like to raise, and that is the plight of the refugees after the Chinese entered the war. It used to tear our guts out, for want of a better expression, to see these people with all their possessions, ages ranging from the elderly down to babies, even some born en route, carrying everything they owned, snow up to 2 feet deep in places. And these people were all heading south. I did not see one heading north. And that, I think, tells a story of itself. There's nothing we could do to help them. We just watched the tragedy unfolding. It used to really tear us apart. And this went on. These people walked for days and days and nights. And that's another thing that stays in my memory. Tragically, I was to witness similar conditions, except the weather, different weather, in Vietnam about 20 years later. That is another sad side of a war. When we got pushed back by the Chinese over the 38 parallel, we were dug in on the southern bank of a stream to protect the bridge, while the American demolition team was placing charges underneath to blow the bridge up. On the northern side, there was a dirt road coming down to the bridge with a bend onto the bridge just before the road connected with the bridge. As I said, we were in concealed positions, and the next thing we saw was a little boy about 10 years old, ragged clothes, carrying nothing, walking down towards the bridge. It was pretty obvious that his parents had been killed. There was nothing we could do. As he got on the bridge, we were counting his steps, and right in the middle, up his explosion went, threw him into the air and down into the water. As I said, there's nothing we could do. We couldn't reveal our positions or anything. I did hear later that he wasn't killed and that he was fished out of the water by the American engineers, and he had survived. That memory stays with me to this day.